something what I really wanted to speak to you about is you are a massive advocate for equality. Anyone who sees your LinkedIn posts can see how much it means to you. I'd like to get your opinion on how things have progressed since you've joined the industry. And then I suppose as a secondary question, what does it still need to do to get to the level where it's acceptable, I suppose? I mean, it is acceptable now. It's probably the most inclusive industry I've ever worked in, but there's always progress.
Isn't it? How much it's changed in the last just handful of years, I think. I mean, when I started at Team 17, so that was my first games industry experience. I'd worked in white collar where it was just middle-aged white men in suits primarily. So I was already kind of used to kind of a whitewashed world in terms of, equality. There were no women with seats at the board table. And then entered this completely different world of a company that was run by a woman. And, let me just say, the company that I'd worked for before that was also run by women. And that taught me a lot in terms of what we were capable of, in terms of breaking down some of those barriers. But knowing that it's not just about us, it's about all of the kind of minority groups as well, and that's what they're classed as. I absolutely hate that statement because they're not a minority to me. They're also individuals. They just belong to a smaller group that someone has ring-fenced with a name. But it just became important to me to acknowledge just the humanity in everything. And yes, I'm a feminist, but I'm not, anti-man. I just believe that being on my own side is beneficial, right? But I also, lift everybody up because I think it's important to acknowledge where talent lies. And, I think if you're an ally, you need to make your voice heard, really, not be ashamed of the stigma that comes with supporting a minority group. When it comes to EDI, I don't over promote because I think that creates subconscious bias and almost reverses the ideology of what you're trying to achieve. Hopefully people that I've worked with over, the last 18, 19 years will know that I've always employed fairly. Doesn't matter who you are, it's who's right for the position at the time. I don't like kind of box ticking exercises, but I've also, introduced processes where you try to remove that bias by removing names, by removing dates of birth, by removing photographs and things like that. It doesn't actually marginally change things that much.
Well, I was when you said that, because it's something which came up yesterday actually in the office, another company thinking about it, and it was that conversation. What difference does it actually make? I think you do have I've experienced and I've been around people who have been biased to a name. So I think that does take that out of the equation, and someone's just looking at a resume for its qualities rather than letting anything cloud that judgment. But you say it doesn't make that much difference, you feel?
When I looked at the results, because I did 2 different campaigns where we changed 4 different things, and no, I didn't see a massive marginal difference at all. What impact I did see was putting people on subconscious bias training instead.
Right.
So instead of changing the process, you change the mindset, and that's what really turned things around.
Oh, so that was an internal thing that you did?
Yeah, we had an external company, we had them kind of train on what subconscious bias means, and we all have bias. That's completely natural. And whether you want to admit it or not, sometimes you put things in a box and you push it right down until you believe it's gone. And you're not acknowledging it when you're making these biased decisions, but it still lives in you. And you almost kind of retrain your mind on how you think about things and how you analyze data and situations even. And that's what really turned things around. So if I was going to help, give any advice to any other business leader or any other talent department or management training, I would say try to incorporate that into your overall L&D plan, because I think it really does work.
I love it. I think it's a great idea because education's the key, isn't it? People don't
always
understand
comes back to education, always. And I'm not scared of learning. I couldn't use my original degree, so I did, 2 others, and leadership and development, leadership and management and HR are in that kind of, glue that holds all of this knowledge together, because you need a subset of standards really to be able to then tell other people how to live their life and how to do their job. And I needed to understand why I was telling people to do these things. But there's a kind of a moral standing behind running a business, looking after people. 'Cause it's not just about you anymore. It's about everybody else. It's about your clients. It's about your employees. It's about all the third-party service providers that you use, whether it be an agency like yourself or an IT company, or the cleaners that clean your offices at night. You become kind of responsible for this whole ecosystem around you. So I can really understand the pressures that business leaders are under. There's so much more goes on behind the curtains of Wizard of Oz than anybody really knows. And I think I posted something about it actually on Mental Health Awareness Week. It's great to think about your employees, but no one ever speaks about the leaders and what they're going through, and it sounds really selfish and like, oh, well, it's fine for you, you get paid loads of money and, you have all these freedoms. I don't think I've ever felt less free, and I think, we forget that we're humans as well. So we just try to promote that everybody's kind of equal ethos, in terms of that respect, kind of mentality, and that we provide platforms to be listened to. I think when you come into a company where there might have been a lot of change, or people have been fearful about speaking up or bringing suggestions to the table, people just stop doing it. And then it takes a while for that trust to be rebuilt. And it's not through, bad management. It's not through any of that. It's kind of just historical legacy of not having that correct structure in place for people to feel as though it's a safe space. So that's something I'm really proud of, actually. I think Airship does a really good job of that now. We don't always have anything to say, so sometimes it can be a little bit quieter from SLT, but, I think when we do have something to say, we're happy to share, and I think we're happy to say it's a struggle out there right now, but we're doing what we can to make sure that you're all safe and secure, or it might be something positive we're sharing, about the new HQ, or it might be about a new benefit that's coming through. And our benefits packages are all based around people actually want, again, and not just, like a tick list of stuff that doesn't really help them in any way in their daily lives. We're offering really great L&D programs and flexible working. We don't, force anybody to come on site. The new site will be great for people who live nearby and the more kind of nomadic, people who want to collaborate some days and not collaborate other days. And I think just having that, we hear you, we understand you, we know some of you are carers, we know some of you are parents, we know some of you are quite introvert and don't like extra noise, or for the neurodiverse, I come from a family where I have a sibling who's neurodiverse and have met so many wonderful people in this industry with similar, conditions. But I did have to kind of, I don't know, calm my personality a little bit when I first came into games, because I was kind of all sunshines and rainbows, and people would literally hide in the shadows. So I had to kind of really temper it down for a little bit until people got to know me and then came back out again.
I think that's really lovely, everything you've gone through there. I've never even thought about the bias aspect, and just changing people and educating people. It's lovely to hear that you think
learn and change, but I
think everyone's got the growth mindset somewhere. It's just making them realize it sometimes.
Because it's generational, certain ways of describing, certain individuals, or, that kind of generational, those generational slights, that granddads and grandmas used to say, or mums and dads, it could be a geographical thing or a cultural thing. And it's kind of understanding, in certain countries and cultures and, subsets of individuals, don't like certain language use. And, it's actually, I don't know, developed over the years to become something else. And it's just, if you're educated and you understand something, I think people become a lot more respectful to each other, because I think bias is more a lack of understanding than anything else,
Yeah, I agree.
and a fear of the unknown, right? So
Yeah.
you remove
So
all that away, that barrier, and it doesn't exist anymore.
yeah, lots to think about there, Vicky.
Yeah, food for
But
thought.
again, it is good that someone's thinking about it and that they are thinking like that.